This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update 741, Move Fast and Remaster. Enjoy. Right, and the problem is that you wind up in this situation that the game is in now, and it's actually easy to see visualizing it by working backwards. So from 2013 to 2016, you had the focus on the Sixth Age with, advancing that Sliske quest line and whatnot, right? And then following 2016, we really just started to get into what happens. After that, we had some big updates here and there, but there wasn't really any overarching central theme at that point. The updates were epic on a scale, let's just say. But prior to 2013, you had a number of changes where, the game's direction was one that was driven by the players with the polls. From 2013... 2010-ish, I'd say, maybe, or 2012-ish, 2013.
No, those were the player.
Yeah, those were the player eras. But the point is, whether it's driven by the players or it's driven by the internal direction, it was just always, let's just add on to this quest. Let's add on to this area.
Yeah.
And when you get to pre-2010s, you're still dealing with the legacy development of RuneScape, let's just say, to the point where it was world building. And the further you go back, the more you get to that situation. And it's like pruning a tree. You start adding on, you give the tree water and you give it fertilizer, and you fertilize every spring, and you make sure that it gets enough water in the fall and in the spring, because you do want to saturate your trees with water before the ground freezes. I don't know if that's commonly known knowledge, but if you do have a new tree, you want to make sure that its ground is saturated before you go into fall and it freezes. You don't want to do it when it's going to freeze, but now is about the time of year, if you're living in northern latitudes, that you want to do that. I don't know why I'm talking about real world gardening, but anyway,
just such a farmer.
Anyways, the point is that trees require nourishment to grow. And once they grow, they start filling out. And once that tree reaches, 3 to 4 years old, you're going to need to start pruning it back. And, granted, we're dealing with a different time scale, but this is what we're doing with RS right now, is we're pruning it back and manicuring it into that nice tree to create that curb appeal.
Well, I think this made me... put me at ease a lot more than where I was, and all I can say is please stick with it.
I think that's the biggest caveat.
Yeah, I really think you're onto something. Please just stick with it.
Yeah, definitely. In-game polls. Yeah, those started in mid-January 2014, so after the whole old school debacle.
Yeah.
That's when we chose between Invention and Prith.
Yeah.
So, and, that was that era combined with the Sixth Age. So you see how the game expanded then. Expanded again after the Sixth Age with more content. And before that, it was just world building that really had no direction to it. So, for all intents and purposes, aside from story-driven direction of the Sixth Age, this is really the first time we have a all-encompassing direction that at least we see externally for the way they want to go.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
It does, because it solves a lot of the questions that can come up by not sharing this kind of thing with us. They could have had this and held on to it, and we would have still been spinning, and we wouldn't have been reassured, and we wouldn't have known. So I think, I think it's actually good to have this information, and the more information, the better. I think it's actually, I think it helps. I think it helps prevent problems before they happen.
Indeed. You can watch full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. You can also listen to audio versions of RSBANDB Update at update.rsbnb.com, and feel free to subscribe to our show on any number of podcast listeners out there at update.rsbnb.com/subscribe.